Hey everyone, my name is Hunter, and today I have my top 10 personal favorite films of 2017 list for you guys. Just note that this is a list of my favorite films of 2017, not the films I thought were the objective best per se. If it was that kind of list, you'd probably have Shape of Water at number one, because in terms of sheer craftsmanship alone, a movie like that is what I would consider to be the actual best film of 2017. But this isn't that. This is the films that I love the most, that I connected with. So it's the films that I enjoy discussing, talking about, analyzing with friends. So it's going to be a lot of genre films. Please, don't take away my film geek cred for that. But a lot of these videos or a lot of these movies you'll see I've already done reviews for on this channel, so I'll keep the segments on those ones relatively short. But for the movies that I haven't reviewed yet before, consider this video as a comprehensive list of reviews for all of them. I'll go a little in depth, and you get to hear my honest opinions on what I thought were my top personal favorite films of 2017. Without further ado, let's jump right into my honorable mention, King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. Okay, yeah, so this is by no means a good film, but you could teach a masterclass in the way some of its montage sequences are edited. I will stand by the fact that these are some of the most entertaining pieces of visual storytelling mixed with narration ever put to screen. Just in case you think I'm still joking, the whole Jack's Eyes tail sequence early in the film formed the entire foundation for my final filmmaking project and my video production class at university. So, yeah, that's got to account for something, right? Anyway, on to the good stuff. Number 10, Atomic Blonde. An art house spy movie with some of the best Western action ever put to screen? Yeah, that'll make my top personal favorite list. And the funny thing is that I didn't even think it was that great after my first viewing. But I can genuinely say that it improves on repeat watches, which, when you think about it, is a really rare thing for a film to pull off. It's got a killer soundtrack too, by the way. Number 9, Spider-Man Homecoming. Okay, I love Spider-Man. I've never been the biggest comic book fan, but the characters just always resonated with me. It's probably because Peter Parker is a great everyman and pretty awesome nerd wish fulfillment, and it also might be because the first two Spider-Man movies I ever saw were two of the best superhero films of all time. But after that last failed reboot, though, I was really worried for the state of Spidey's franchise. Marvel knows what they're doing, though, and the team behind this movie went above and beyond to create one of the best on-screen portrayals of Spider-Man ever. It's the wit, the humor, and the sense of childlike wonder in Peter Parker. It's all there. It's what makes this movie great, and it's all because Marvel finally decided that they wanted to break their average movie streak and deliver something truly memorable. It does justice to the Spider-Man character, and I love it for that. Number 8, Logan Lucky. Remember when movies were fun? Remember when risk-taking directors would, take risks? Logan Lucky is just that. It's a brilliantly shot, paced, acted, and enjoyable narrative. Steven Soderbergh's come a long way since Ocean's 11, but it's nice to see that he can still make an old-school heist movie with all the charm and character you'd expect. Number 7, Baby Driver. Best car action ever? Yes. Best comedy of the year? Yes. Best musical of the year? Yes. Best Edgar Wright movie ever? No, but Scott Pilgrim vs. the World isn't an easy thing to top. I've seen this film twice in theaters now, plus I bought it on Blu-ray, and the fact that I'm still picking up on new details and jokes hidden in it is a testament to Edgar Wright's filmmaking quality. Can someone just give this guy a $200 million blockbuster already? I think he's earned it. Number 6, John Wick Chapter 2. Much like Atomic Blonde, John Wick 2 is a beautifully shot action film, but it elevated itself above the usual genre material by being sharply directed, surprisingly humorous, and with a finale that was so technically impressive that I still haven't figured out how they pulled it off. The action is slick and efficient, the world is still mysterious and grows in new and unique ways. It's a smart, effective sequel that doesn't fall into the trap of being a repeat of the first. I know there's a common trend where the second film in a trilogy has to be the dark one, and somehow, the sequel about a movie where a vengeful hitman hunts down the men who killed his puppy actually manages to be that. The violence is more gory, brutal, and, well, violent. John himself struggles way harder than he did in the first movie, and it functions as a perfect middle chapter for wherever they choose to go with this story. This whole franchise is quickly becoming the industry benchmark for how to do mid-budget action, and as someone who really sees the real value in that particular genre, it gives me so much joy to know that there are industry professionals who seem to feel the exact same way about it as I do. As a bonus, they're also all really good at their jobs too. Again, this film's finale has me so pumped to see what happens in the third one, and I haven't been able to say that about a movie since Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Speaking of which... Number 5, Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Yes, this is on the list. Get over it, nerd. I might end up doing a full review for this, don't quote me on that, but the point is, I like it. Does it deserve the hate it's been getting? In some respects, yeah. For me, there are only 2 major issues in the film: Leia's almost death, and the entire character of Rose. I didn't even mind the Casino Planet thing. It didn't overstay its welcome, it was important to the story, whatever. Everything about this film, otherwise, though, is just sublime. It's one of the best Star Wars movies since the original trilogy, and yeah, I will defend that. And, I mean, what else are you going to compare it to? The prequels? The rehash Awakens? Boring first and second act 1? Okay, that one was a little forced, I'm sorry. The writing is, for the most part, smart and character-driven, and the themes it deals with are actually pretty complex if you really dive into them. It's also got pretty good cinematography, too. And look, bad films don't generate this much discussion after their release, so I think The Last Jedi is really something special. Number 4, Blade Runner 2049. How did this flop? 2049 was a technically flawless sequel that expands and against all odds improves on the original, which just so happens to be one of the greatest sci-fi classics of all time. But hey, it's what you get when you have quite possibly the most stacked team in all of Hollywood. Director, Denis Villeneuve. Producer, Ridley Scott. Cinematographer, Roger Deakins. Lead actor, Ryan Gosling. Thrown an R rating and a, $150 million budget, and I don't actually think it would have been physically possible to make a bad movie. The pacing was a little slow in places, yeah, but other than that, I couldn't find a single flaw in this. If this doesn't win the Oscar for Best Picture... Wait, what? Not even nominated? Number 3, Get Out. I don't like films that try to push a certain agenda, and with everything that has been and is currently going down in North America, I just like to keep my head down, go for a pint, and wait for the whole thing to blow over. I might even watch Get Out while I do that, because Get Out is awesome. Literally, everything from the directing, writing, and acting is all so finely tuned and well calculated, and there's so many great setups and payoffs and Easter eggs and subtleties. You just know that Jordan Peele had been working on this script for a long time before it got made. And yeah, not only is it an almost flawless suspense film, but it also gave groups of minorities a rallying call in a year where they really needed one. This was pretty much a bona fide cultural touchstone from the minute it landed, and does it make me feel bad for being an upper middle class white person? Yeah, a little bit, but I saw it with one of my black friends, so, I think I'm cool. Number 2, Dunkirk. Bravo, Nolan. You just made one of the most suspenseful films I've ever seen. And isn't it rare for a historical war film to get greenlit these days? Especially one that takes the daring risk of not just being a clone of Saving Private Ryan? I mean, I read into this and I found out that Chris Nolan went straight to silent films, Hitchcockian dramas, and other classic suspense features for his inspiration behind Dunkirk. And it really shows. The visual storytelling throughout was just masterfully done, and on repeat viewings you really start to notice subtleties and everything down to, even the soundtrack. For example, the way Dunkirk is scored and mixed gives it a sort of heartbeat throughout. It's just like Alien in that way. Yeah, go back and watch Alien. There's actually a steady beat of something always happening in the audio mix, and it's just a great thing for building suspense. Also, I just read into that too, and apparently Alien was one of the inspirations behind Dunkirk as well. The only thing this film was missing was real characters, even though that was probably by design. My number 1 film, though, has more depth in its characters than I know what to do with. And that film is Logan. Logan made me cry. Most films don't do that, but there's always about one each year that pulls it off. Last year it was La La Land, this year it was Logan. Now, I could talk for hours about how I grew up with Hugh Jackman as the definitive Wolverine, or how I consider the X-Men franchise to be some of the best superhero films ever put to screen. Except for these ones. F*** those movies. But where Logan succeeds, and where it rises to be my personal favorite superhero film of all time, is in the story it chooses to tell. The subject of growing old and accepting death is bleak, it's shocking, and challenging. It's words you usually don't hear when discussing Marvel superhero films, but that's what makes it so great. The film is masterful in its direction, acting, pacing, action, editing, and score, but it isn't flashy about it. This isn't some big, loud Christopher Nolan Dark Knight thing. Logan is subtle and nuanced when appropriate, and it's loud and aggressive when the time calls for it. It treats the character Hugh Jackman has devoted 17 years of his life to with real respect and gives him a perfect, sincere send-off. Also, Daphne Keane is, to me, the real breakout child star of last year, and I hope Disney lets her grow into the X-23 character like Jackman did and tell her own stories for years to come. I love when superhero films basically take other genres and apply them to themselves. It's the reason Spider-Man Homecoming worked, what with the whole 80s teen John Hughes thing. And when Logan decided that, hey, we're actually going to be a gritty western, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm on board. All in all, Logan is just perfect. It's everything I want out of my genre films, blockbusters, and just, films in general. And that's everything. We made it to the end of the list. So, what did you guys think? Do you agree, disagree? Let me know in the comments section down below. And make sure you stay tuned till next week, though, because that is when we are doing my top 10 least favorite films of 2017 video. Oh boy, won't that be a frickin' blast. Anyway, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and until then, take care and have a good one.